All these chairs are out here because over 60 people have signed up for the course. Is it hot in here?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll take care of that. So we weren't exactly sure how many would show up, but we're delighted that you all are here. The outpouring of interest in this, to me, is very, very special. It says there are a lot of people who would like to learn about Judaism. What is interesting is how this happened. Generally, we put in one ad in the paper just to let people know we're doing it. But Sherry Stein put in one ad and they had a special. So it went in every day for 2 weeks. And man, did we learn a lot about advertising. So this has been an eye-opener for all of us. We're going to be doing, and I'm kind of just telling you all the nuts and bolts about it all. What we're going to be doing here is try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, which may not be totally doable. We need to see how many people, and I'm not yet asking for hands, but how many people are here simply out of interest to learn about Judaism? How many for sure know that they want to convert? My sense is from the sign-up is that most people are going to be here out of interest, not at all interested in conversion, either knowing it for sure or might be interested in conversion. So we'll just have to wait and see, and then Rabbi Simon and I will sort of work with the class depending on what we find. If you are definitely interested in conversion or think you might be, and I want to tell all of you, this is not a class to convert anybody. It's just basic Judaism. But those who are interested in converting have to get basic Judaism. So that's how we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But at the about 7:30 or so break, I'd like everybody who's interested in or sure that they want to convert to just stay in here while the others take a break out there for just a little bit, because as we do that, then I can go through with you what the conversion program would entail. So everybody with me on that? Okay. Before I start, are there any questions? Because what I'm going to give you is basic Judaism. Okay, no questions. I want to start then with a story to let you know you came to the right synagogue to learn about Judaism. 3 pious Jews dressed in long black coats with beards were playing golf. A guy named Mulhaney wanted to play golf, and this was the only threesome in which he could play. So he joins the rabbis and plays 18 holes. At the end of the 18 holes, his score was 104. The rabbis had shot 69, 70, and 72. So he says to the rabbis, how come you guys shoot such good golf? The lead rabbi says, when you lead a religious life, join and attend the right synagogue, you are rewarded. Mulhaney, a true lover of golf, thinks, what do I have to lose? He finds a synagogue near his home, converts to Judaism, joins the synagogue, regularly attends services, and leads a holy life. About a year later, he again plays golf with the 3 rabbis. He shoots 104. They shoot 69, 70, and 71. He says to them, okay, I converted, joined a synagogue, lived a religious life, and I still shoot 104. What's the deal? What synagogue did you join? The lead rabbi asks. Beth Shalom was the reply. The rabbi retorted, silly man, that's the one for tennis. So, I think you might have come to the right place, hopefully so. And what I want to say to you is that we are, again, not looking to convert anyone, simply to share a basic knowledge of Judaism with you. The way the class is designed at present, the hope is to kind of give those who want to convert some hands-on experience of how to do things within the Jewish holidays. If you haven't come for that, you're still going to have a heck of a lot of fun if you want to learn some of it and see how it's done. So that's number 1. Number 2, I'm not going to take time tonight to have everybody introduce themselves to each other. That would take really too much time. But I would love to get to know some of you I know. Some of you I would love to get to know a little bit better, and so would Rabbi Simon. I was born and reared in Dallas, Texas. In 1945 I was born. I was the son of refugees from Hitler's Germany. My mother was born in Switzerland, my father in Germany. He got out in 37 underneath a train, hiding under a train. Married my mother in Switzerland. She had a Swiss passport. They were able to get out of Europe and into Panama with her Swiss passport. From there, in 41, they made it to the United States. My mom first. She brought my father over. The United States government made my father an offer he couldn't refuse. He could either be put into a camp here in the United States for enemy aliens, or he could join the American Army. So he joined the American Army Air Force. Remember now, he was born and raised in Germany, so he speaks fluent German. We're fighting the Germans. Where do they send him? To bakery school to bake bread and learn how to bake bread. After a year, they decided, A, he was bright, 2, he knew German. So they then sent him back to Germany to interrogate German prisoners of war. After the war, they continued to live in Dallas. Again, I grew up there, went to the University of Texas in Austin, 5 years of rabbinical school in New York City. During that time, I had a student pulpit in Burlington, Vermont. And then my first congregation as an assistant rabbi was 2 years in Memphis. That was followed by 13 years in Jackson, Mississippi. Our congregation there was bombed, shot up with high-powered rifles. I wore a bulletproof vest and carried a .38. It was dangerous. And then I came here 25 years ago in 1986. I've been here since and am a senior rabbi here. My interests are woodworking. I love gardening. And my claim to fame as a youngster and young man is I rode the rodeo circuit. So I'm probably the only redneck rabbi around. To give you some idea about the approach that I'm going to take with you, let me tell you just a brief story. In the early 70s, a polling company here in the United States went to an Indian reservation in South Dakota to find out if they thought we should get out of Vietnam. They took the poll, and something like 73% of the Indians said that we should get out of Vietnam. What was even more interesting is that 100% of the Indians said we ought to get out of the United States. If you think about that for a second, you'll realize that what it says is that all of us see the world through our own lenses, through our own experiences, through our own religious perception. So I can only present Judaism to you through my lenses. That being said, that doesn't mean that what I see or sense in the world is right, and if you believe differently it's wrong, or vice versa. It simply means all of us have different life experiences, we've grown up with different experiences, and there's plenty of room in the world for all kinds of competing concepts, ideas, and perceptions and beliefs, as long as it leaves room, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in just a moment, as long as it leaves room for others to have the freedom to do the same. It's not my way, right or wrong. Again, I want to make sure that everybody understands that. Just to very quickly, and I'll mostly lecture, but please feel free to ask questions whenever you want. Everyone here who's Christian, just raise your hand. Okay. Anyone who's Jewish? Okay. And how many, is there anyone here from another faith than those two? Okay. I've given you, and I need to get one myself. Bear with me. How are you? What I'm going to do then is quickly run through with you what Judaism is, what we believe, why we believe it, and how it differs somewhat from Christianity. So to begin with, we believe in one God, and I want to basically do a diagram for you on the board. We believe, as I said, that there is one God. Now, the reason that we don't believe in two gods is it's never been a part of our system. The Christian concept of the Trinity is not part of Judaism. We do not see a Father, a Son, or a Holy Ghost. We just see God. Again, that doesn't mean that those who do believe in a Trinity are wrong. It's just a different way of looking at things. So, we believe that there is one God. Why don't we believe that Jesus, as in Christianity, is the Messiah? Let me give you a couple of answers to that. First of all, we believe that when a Messiah comes, that Messiah will bring peace. Jesus came, according to Christian theology. There was no peace then, realizing that the New Testament originates the concept of a second coming. However, that is a New Testament concept, not a Hebrew Bible Old Testament concept. So for Jews, there is no second coming. Second of all, and we'll touch on this again later, Jesus provides a service for Christians that Jews don't perceive they need. And this is the concept of original sin. Anyone here who's Christian and can define for me original sin in its classic state? Anybody here? Yes?
The sin of Adam and Eve.
The sin of Adam and Eve, exactly. And because they sinned, we inherit that basic sinfulness, which is the original sin. Now, one of the things that we're going to learn is that you, Jews and Christians, can have exactly the same 5 books of Moses, but we bring different lenses to the very same story. And the best one to start with is the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Originally, it was a comedy, and I'm sure you've never seen it as a comedy. But think about it. Adam and Eve are told not to eat from the tree of good and evil. And if they do, they're going to be punished. And the fear on God's side is that Adam and Eve are going to become as infinitely wise and smart as God. They will have divine knowledge. So they eat of the apple. So then, I guess they have divine knowledge, right? What's the first thing they realize with this incredibly brilliant divine knowledge? That they're naked. Genius. And what's the next thing they do with this? What do? They hide from God. If you're God, you know you can't hide from God. Do you understand what I'm saying? People, when they saw this originally, were rolling in the aisles. It was the funniest thing. But we've made it into serious theology. Now, what happens is that when Christians come to the story, they read something different into it. It's like a giant Rorschach test. What do you see? What do you see? When Christians look at the story, what they see is that Adam and Eve commit the sin of eating the apple. As a result, they are given 3 punishments that are explicit. What are those 3 punishments? They will be thrown out. That's not one of the specific. There are 3.
Pain from childbirth.
Pain from childbirth from Eve.
And Adam has to work.
Adam has to work. No one ever remembers the 3rd one, and it's explicit. That's not saying I believe it. Men will have dominion over women for eternity. Again, that's not a Jewish view. It's not my view, but it's in that story. Okay. See, got to go back and read your Bible. Okay, so those are the 3 explicit punishments. Christianity sees a 4th, and that is that all of us inherit Adam and Eve's basic sinfulness. Jews look at that same story and see the exact opposite. They see that God comes to Adam and Eve and says, you have a choice. You're not born sinful. You're born with the ability to choose. You have free will. One side says you don't have free will. You're born with original sin. Judaism says you have free will.